Hey, beloveds, ever respond to a social media post that asks a question and you simply put out your answer there only to be followed up by a whole bunch of hateful comments in regard to what you said? Well, yesterday there was a social media post that a news agency put out about the decline in American pride as a country. It's about 10% down from where it's been. And they asked, "Are you proud to be an American?" And my response was, "Unfortunately, not at this time in our history." And there was a whole bunch of things that came down the line, and I didn't respond to any except maybe laugh at a couple. But one really stuck to me, and that was, "We the people voted for this." And so I do what I do when I'm feeling all kinds of heavy. I wrote. And so here is my lament for we the people. They say we the people voted for this, as if the ink on a ballot can whitewash the blood on our streets, as if the flick of a lever can sanctify the lash. But I hear more than they say. I hear the groaning beneath the gavel, the weeping beneath the anthem, the silence of saints drowned by the chants of empire. I hear, we the people voted to weld shut the gates of mercy and call it security, to build cages before shelters, iron cribs for brown-skinned babies whose only crime was hope on tired feet. We poured concrete over compassion, poured it thick and fast, so nothing tender could take root. We covered the soil in slogans and rolled tanks over seeds. We, the people, voted to tear the linen from the table and dress our greed in red, white, and blue. We chose coins over communion, fear over fellowship, barbed wire over bridges. We, the people, voted to silence the prophets, erase the archives, and edit God into the image of our nationalism. We outlawed memory. We handcuffed truth. We crucified the dreamers and crowned the strong men with thorns as if they were messiahs. We, the people, voted to replace the Psalms with pledges, to kneel not in prayer but to power. We rewrote history with flags, call it holy, and forgot the hands that bled to build what we now burn. And still, my heart, oh my battered beloved heart, it breaks not only for what has been chosen, but for what has been forgotten. Because once we knew better. Once we were a people who gathered not to conquer, but to comfort. We brought casseroles to grief and gospel to grief cause. We passed the peace with trembling hands and meant it. Once freedom was a circle, not a sword. Once liberty sounded like laughter shared between strangers at the border of belonging. Once our prayers lifted up the last and the least, not the loudest and the richest. And we still believe, even now, even here, especially here. I do not bow to the ballot if it blesses the boot. I do not sing the anthem if it drowns the cries of the poor. I do not call it justice if it jails the innocent and frees the cruel with a smile. I vote again every day, not just with ink, but with breath, with broken bread, with open hands, with holy resistance, for the immigrant who still sings in detention, for the child with no cradle but concrete, for the mother whose milk dries from despair, for the stranger Jesus still walks beside, for the weary who deserves more than our prayers, for the rising who will not be burned back into silence. Yes, we the people, but which people and whose kingdom are we building? Because I will not labor for the towers of Pharaoh or the altars of Caesar. I will plant again with mustard seeds and wild grace. I will weep until the stones themselves rise in song. I will speak until the empire cracks, and when it does, may mercy flow through every fissure and justice rise like sap from the roots of the forgotten. We, the people, still have time to remember who we are. Holy resistance, holy defiance. Get that holy fire.